Hello and welcome to HMS Odyssey Presents. Today we are interviewing Meg Zeek. She is a coach in a couple different facets, but one of her favorites and the one that she's sharing with us today is human design. So she goes in a little deeper and she has two different ways she looks at it. She looks at it in a personal perspective and then also in a business perspective. And that is available for both of you. Today, she does a personal perspective. In the first video here, she's going to go through an intro. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself and what she does, how she does it, and a little bit about herself. So I hope you enjoy. Don't forget, if you like the video, if you enjoy it, hit the like button, drop a comment, and subscribe. Thanks. Hello, everybody, and welcome to HMS Odyssey Presents. Today, we are interviewing Meg Zeek. Now, she does human design, but she does it with a twist. So let's jump right in, and I'm going to let her explain this to you because it's probably going to be a little better if she does. So, hi, Meg. How you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Brent.
Awesome.
So human design. For people that understand what it really is just an energetic map, an energetic blueprint of your body and how it all works together. So when I have a lot of background in lots of different things, which I'm sure it may come up later, but the bulk of human design is really sinking into your body and listening to it, listening to what it needs, listening to what it's asking you for, and using that to get you into alignment. So the way that I do it when I do just a typical reading with someone where we're doing a life reading, I have life and business readings, so those kind of differ. When we do a life reading, we are really asking you to be open and honest with yourself as much as you can be. So as we're learning these new things about our body and what our body is capable of messaging to us, right? That we can be really clear on maybe like what's happened in the past and how that has transpired into who you are today. Get even really clear on who you are now and how this information can benefit you in the future. So we'll incorporate things like breath work. Sometimes there is like light, gentle movement that we will work into integrating throughout your day. And you get to feel in your body when you need it, right? Shadow work or inner child healing, those kind of go hand in hand, I suppose, that people can use. Again, so really what I want to give to people in their reading is tools that they can use to carry on in their healing journey.
Okay. So every journey is a specialized journey. Not only is everybody's human design chart different, but you also customize their package, if you will.
Yeah.
So you do the reading and then you also give them the tools that help directly for them. It's not everybody gets shadow work or everybody gets inner child healing or everybody gets this or that.
Right. You definitely guide the reading. I'm there to teach it and give you the information. And then I can also add in tools for you to implement. Now, some people after a reading will want to continue working, and then we'll set up a even more personalized package for them.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm curious, how did you get involved in human design? And not only that, how did you incorporate it in, like what transpired in your life for you to transition to this?
Yeah, I love this story. So my background is in health and wellness. It's what I went to college for. It's what I have my degree in. And so I've always been a really facts-based, evidence-based type of human being. I've been doing coaching for several years now. And so as you do as an entrepreneur, you listen to podcasts and you read books and you fill your cup, your mental cup, with all the information that you can absorb, right? Especially when it's bettering yourself. And so I can't remember the podcast it was, and I wish I could find it whenever somebody asks me this question. But it was a doctor and a nurse being interviewed on this podcast, and they started talking about human design. Like, that's not what the podcast was supposed to be about. That wasn't the main theme at all. But they started talking about it, and I was like, that's really interesting. Sounds kind of like astrology. And I've never, I was never into astrology. I always felt like I'm an Aquarius. And I was like, that doesn't really suit me, you know? When I heard about human design from people who are evidence fact-based people, I said, okay, like I gotta see what this is about. So, you know, I went and I did my chart, and I'm a projector, which is about 20% of the population. And as I read more about myself, I was like, wow, that really makes sense for all these things that had happened in the past. And, you know, traumas, situations that really just weren't meant for me, that I had gotten myself into trying to be someone else. And because in all human design, we have these conditioned centers, we have the ability to be conditioned, right? And this was able to like really pinpoint things for me. So it became a really big part of my healing journey. And then I started incorporating it with my clients after I practiced on myself and my family first, because that you got to practice first. But being able to incorporate that with my clients and seeing how it met their needs and met their family's needs is really where it all began.
Wow. That's crazy, because when I think of my spiritual journey, it was one big cataclysmic event that started it all. But then there was tons and tons and tons of little things that all built into the big journey. But it sounds like this one little like serendipitous moment where you were watching a podcast about something completely unrelated just started like this huge ripple effect for you to do this. That's incredible. And the fact that you remember it is crazy.
It was really cool, especially just having been that person that says, you know, show me the anatomy, show me the theories and the laws and all of that, and then saying, no, this makes 100% sense. And I've yet to do a chart reading. I say this all the time, I should knock on wood. I've yet to do a chart reading where someone doesn't say, wow, that is exactly me. And it's helping me make so much sense of my life. So yeah, I can't get enough of it. I love it. It's a really fun tool for me. I definitely let everybody know it's a tool.
It's funny because something that you said, not this past question, but the question before, you said, I realized in my past, I was putting myself in situations that weren't meant for me. Mm-hmm. And like, that just kind of stuck with me because, you know, we think of ourselves as being able to tackle any situation that's thrown our way. You know, obviously we're adaptable creatures. We can go and move through different things. So that's actually really funny, but because it's something that I also preach, is setting boundaries for yourself. If there's something that's not aligned for you, or you're not supposed to go in that direction, like how do you understand those boundaries? So like what I'm like hearing is like human design isn't really like telling you what to do or how to live your life or anything, but it's kind of like a map on how you can be more effective in different situations. Yes. Does that sound right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Cool.
And I don't know if I should interject there and tell you that there are two different schools of thought in human design, where there is one that there is one school of thought, and most of us consider it like the old school way of thought, I suppose would be the way to put it. And it's like, here's what your chart says, and this is how it is. This is what you do. And that can create a lot of limiting beliefs in people. And my take on human design is that there's no limitations on you. Now you're just aware. You're aware of what your body does. And again, that the whole body works together. So should you feel a little icky about some part of your chart, guess what? Like, look at all these other beautiful parts that do give you a limitless view. So I say it's more of an embodiment approach.
Okay.
These are kind of the two different schools of thought.
Yeah. So
I think it's good for people to be aware of that.
yeah, like I was just kind of trying to think of like a good example I could like relate this to. So if it says you're strong in leadership, but you've never really had an opportunity, or maybe, you know, someone else has jumped in front of you for a leadership role, you're kind of unaware of that. So the old school of thought would be like, you're a leader, you need to do this.
Right.
And then your approach is like, your chart says that you have the leadership capabilities, and it's up to you to either step into that role or not.
100%.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. A little more choice, a little more fluctuation, and
yes,
and more what you're comfortable. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, awesome. That's so cool. And it's so cool. So as far as your other practice goes, you integrated it into your business, and then did your other business die out, or do you still have them both at once?
I still have both. So most of my work is actually client work packages, that sort of thing. I call it the Slingshot Method, where if you want to make $1 million in a year, or if you want to join the NFL, whatever your goal is, then you're going to have to take that rock, imagining a slingshot, you're going to have to take it back pretty far, and you're going to have to heal some stuff. And as that healing continues, you're dropping limiting beliefs, you're dropping the resistance, right, of the air, if we're thinking aerodynamics. You're dropping those things so that when you are ready to launch, you can sail further.
Wow.
So then we get into the energetics, and most likely, all of my clients are entrepreneurs too, so they are also working on business. So we work on you first.
Yeah, I like that analogy. You know, it's kind of like where you're at now, taking 20 steps backwards just to take 50 forwards in a really rapid fashion.
Yes. That's
really cool.
Always the goal. Yes.
Yeah. I like that. That's very cool.
Thank you. I enjoy it.
Absolutely. So, what are some of the overall benefits? I know we talked about some of the long-term benefits, but are there things that people could expect to see or feel within a day or a week, or like, do you have like a time frame? Do you say you should see results within a week? And this is kind of, you know, obviously everybody's going to feel a little different, but is there like a benefit that's very noticeable that you should experience?
Are you asking about a chart reading or the method that I use with my clients?
Well, I'm
both,
I guess. Yeah. So if we do this session, at the end of this session, should I like be just more cognizant of my limited beliefs and like be working on them? Are we going to break some? Should I feel like happier within a week? Or, you know, what are some of the things that people say?
So yeah, as far as a reading, I would say, you know, there's not necessarily a time frame. Again, anytime I go into a reading, there's not necessarily a goal for that person. Their goal is to become aware of themselves. And so that's what we work on, is becoming more aware, right? Gaining knowledge of self. And with whatever practices or tools that we integrate within that, I mean, most people do have a big release during the session, That's not always true. It's really dependent on, I don't force anything on anyone. And so it's really dependent on what their inner goal is.
Okay.
I would say too that depending on your type, depending on your authority, which are things that we'll go into here in a minute, you will feel and see those, be more aware of them, like day of. You can start making more aligned choices, actions.
Okay.
Day of.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. You know, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Right.
So really, awareness is probably one of the biggest things, because in any situation, if you have your blinders on, you're going to be pretty limited on what you're looking at. But when you open it up, okay, gotcha. Okay, so the biggest benefit I'd have to say is the awareness that you get from this.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Perfect. Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to add, or do you want to jump right in?
Let's go ahead and jump in.
Cool. All right.